Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Kirsty and this is Stuck in the Mud. So today I'm going to be talking all about what if it's not OCD. Now this is thrown up a lot with OCD, and when you're suffering from intrusive thoughts, we'll get that question, well, what if it isn't OCD? What if I am suffering from something else? Or maybe I'm actually capable of these intrusive thoughts I've been having. What if it's not OCD and I could potentially do X, Y, Z? You know, it'll always throw this question up, and we have to try and resist analysing it and getting involved with that question, because whether you already suffer from OCD and this question is raised, like what if it's an OCD, or maybe you haven't had an official diagnosis and this gets thrown up too, well, what if this isn't OCD? And it may be confusing as well, because if you haven't had an official diagnosis, you don't always have a grasp on what OCD is all about and the way it works and all the sneaky ways it tries to get you hooked in and back in that OCD cycle of rumination and worry and all the horrible emotions it brings up. So I have had this a lot in the past. So when I've been going through various subtypes of OCD, they can be really scary, really terrifying. They're so far apart from who you are as a person. But then you'll get that question, that niggling question. You may be trying to do all your therapy, trying to let the thoughts be there, but then you get this question pop up. Well, what if it isn't OCD? What if it's something else? What if you actually enjoy these thoughts? What if you want to carry out these thoughts? What if what you're feeling is an urge? I've had them all, and I've dealt with this for almost 40 years, and OCD has tried to trip me up every which way. But what I'll tell you is, what if? And it doesn't even have to start with what if. I mean, that's a sure hallmark of OCD, because it's what we tend to think. We tend to think, well, what if this could happen? What if I'm capable of this? What if that's contaminated? You know, it's a general question with OCD that will pop up frequently. But it can be done in any way. But you'll be questioning whether you enjoy this, whether you are wrong about potentially having something like OCD, or you have OCD and you're potentially wondering, well, what if this isn't OCD, my OCD? What if this is something else? What if this means that I secretly want to harm someone? What if this is actually contaminated and it's not OCD, just trying to trip me up again? And OCD is the doubting disorder. It will try and get you hooked in that cycle, down that rabbit hole. It wants your attention. It wants all of your attention. It wants you to try and work things out, try and figure out what this is all about. What are these thoughts about? What are these feelings about? And we have to resist that urge to do that, because all OCD wants is for you to get hooked in and back where it wants you, in all that uncertainty and all that confusion about why you're having this thought and why it's there. What does this say about me? You know, it wants you to work everything out and come up with a conclusion, and it wants that ultimate certainty, which you will never get with OCD. And let me tell you, when you question whether this is OCD, it generally is. Let me tell you, because it's been thrown up in all the different subtypes of OCD I have, and I have had many of them. And especially those scary ones where it might involve harming someone, it might involve, you know, abhorrent images, it might involve abhorrent abuse, it might involve children, it might involve all the things you care the most about. and it will make you question whether you're capable of such an act. And for me, when I had those kind of thoughts, it was terrifying. And I'm sure many of you out there will be able to resonate with this and understand how awful that can be, how utterly frightening that is, because when you're faced with that question of, well, what if it isn't OCD? You start to then feel guilty because it's getting you hooked in. You're starting to question, well, I feel really guilty now because I'm having all these thoughts. But guess what? You don't like them. Why are you feeling anxious about them? Because you don't want them. You don't like them. You don't want them to be there. But that is a lot of reassurance seeking. So we want to go through all the motions and figure out if these are OCD thoughts or if there's something more sinister and it says something awful about us, says something terrible about us, and that we're capable of doing abhorrent things. And it's just not the case, because you wouldn't feel all this anxiety and all this stress and tension about having these thoughts if you enjoyed it. And the research says it. The research says that the people that have these kind of intrusive thoughts are really the least likely of person to carry out such a thing. And, you know, as much as these do give reassurance, we have to be very careful not to keep doing that, because the more we do that, and it will give relief having that reassurance, but the more we seek that, the more we'll keep. It's just another way OCD likes to keep you in the loop and going round that cycle in that washing machine and just going round and round. And it will be temporary relief as well, because reassurance seeking is just that. It doesn't last. It'll give you that feeling of, fine, I think I figured this out, and yep, not true. This is OCD, this is nothing about me. But then the doubt will come later. So that's where we've got to be careful about, is seeking too much reassurance, if any at all. We have to stay away from that. So we have to treat all of these, what if this isn't OCD? We have to treat it as OCD, and we have to give it the least attention as possible. We have to involve ourselves in the least possible way. So we get the thought, what if this isn't OCD? It's going to be really tempting to get pulled into that. And you know, OCD, like I said, it's very sneaky. It'll find all the different ways to pull you in. And it's a really horrible way to do it, because it'll make you question everything. And that's what OCD likes to do. And, you know, it'll find any way that can get some involvement from you. And we have to stay firm and let these thoughts be there. Let them do whatever they want in the background. Just let them play out how they want to. And if we can give them the least attention possible, they will reduce in frequency. And with time and consistency and doing all of these behaviors of letting them be there, it will get better, believe me. I've probably had about nearly all of the subtypes. I've definitely gone through a lot of them over the last 40 years, and it is extremely challenging, you know. And OCD can be quite cruel in that respect, because, you know, it's a big bully. It just wants you to follow its lead and get hooked in, and it will really challenge you, especially when you're going through recovery. And it will find all the little tricky ways and sneaky ways it can get you back in that cycle, questioning everything, trying to work it out. And we have to resist that temptation. We have to resist checking and trying to establish whether this is OCD, whether it isn't. We have to treat them all the same. This is an intrusive thought and this is OCD. And we are so far apart from that. Because let me tell you, when you suffer from OCD, you're very sensitive. You know, you're a sensitive person, and you are very attuned to all of these things, all the horrible things that happen in the world. And ultimately, that's why we get pulled in so easily, because we want to establish that we are the person we, deep down, we know we are. The person, you know, people with OCD, like I say, it's been established, are really safe people to be around. Research proves that. And to say that this is an OCD is just, it's just not true, because it is OCD. It has all the hallmarks and it wants certainty. But we have to stay firm and we have to let them be there. So I hope this has helped you today and made you realise how tricky OCD can be, because it will try to trip you up any way it can. But following this, following the path to recovery is worthwhile, because you will get that freedom back which you deserve. You can go on to live that fulfilling life that, you know, OCD's been holding you back from. So thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up. I hope it's helped you today. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.